Nigeria's agricultural sector has received a major boost under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Back in June, President Tinubu emphasized Nigeria's commitment to deepening bilateral relations with Brazil, highlighting the $1 billion Green Imperative Program as a transformative initiative to overhaul the nation's agricultural sector through technology-driven solutions and strategic capacity building. Also, the sector is set to enter a new era of industrialization, as the Nigerian government, the African Development Bank, and the state government of Kaduna have mapped out plans to kickstart the construction of Phase 1 of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program. Joining us on this show to discuss the federal government's various intervention programs to boost the agriculture sector is Dr. Kingsley Uzoma, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agribusiness and Productivity Enhancement. He will also address the ongoing debate over genetically modified organic foods, GMO, in Nigeria. Good morning, Dr. Uzoma, and thank you very much for joining us on the morning show.
Good morning, Dr. Abati, and your members, your team, and also good morning, Nigerians watching.
Okay, Dr. Uzoma, you are here to tell us the great things, the wonderful things that President Tinubu is doing in the agri sector. We all agree that the agri sector can do better than the 22% contribution to GDP, and that the government, yes, okay, you claim, is making a lot of efforts in that direction. So what is government doing? What else should government do? What are the challenges?
Thank you very much for that brief introduction of the two out of many bold and visionary and laudable programs of this present administration. I will start by highlighting the two you've mentioned and then add others. Let me start with the number one you mentioned, the Green Imperative. It's a technology transfer package between Nigeria and Brazil, apparently on mechanization. It has two components, Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 1 component is primary production. That involves plowing, harrowing, land clearing, harvesters, every activity for production, so mechanization. And that one would be in 642 local governments in Nigeria. You have Type 2. Type 2 is post-production or agro-processing. That one will be in 132 local governments, making it 774 local governments in this country. Therefore, you have a government-assisted, private sector-driven agro-enterprise, we call it service center, in each of the local governments in this country. And this project had been in the works for the past 12 years. However, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, took office, in fact, before the swearing in, he started working on this, that we must accelerate this and get it operational. And, we had a whole lot of administrative protocols to get this loan. Everything was finalized, but got stalled. So he came and leveraged the convening power of the presidency to get all the bits and pieces within Nigeria, Brazil, Germany, because Deutsche Bank is also one of the co-funders of this. It's a syndicated loan between the Islamic Development Bank, Development Bank of Brazil, and Deutsche Bank. And it's also insured against the non-honoring of sovereign obligation by Nigeria to the tune of 95% by the Islamic Corporation for Insurance and Export Credit. So it's a low-risk credit facility that has a huge multiplier effect within the agriculture and socio-economic ecosystem across this nation. At the end of the day, for the first time in the history of this nation, there will be a government-led, a private sector-led structured organization in each of the, no matter how remote the local government is in this country, will benefit. So that is it. It's been signed. So we are in the process of designing it with the FGV, the Brazilian project managers that had helped Brazil in the transformation of the Cerrado region, where they brought in more than 12 million hectares with Campo under cultivation and increased the productivity of Brazilian farmland, now making Brazil a huge agricultural powerhouse. So we believe that within the first 10 years of this program, Nigeria will, we have a quantum leap in our agricultural productivity in terms of contribution to stabilization of food security situation and food security rating of Nigeria, and also in terms of export and diversification of the Nigerian economy, especially foreign exchange, and which is a core issue that is very at the core of Mr. President's vision for agricultural transformation, economic diversification in this country.
Thank you for setting the foundation. Now, I'm glad you've, expressed the interventions and the programs that are underway, but many might argue that they are not leading to an increase in output. I use ginger, for example, which has been topical in conversation recently, and Nigeria, which used to be a massive exporter of ginger, is now importing from the likes of China. So these interventions, why are we not seeing our agricultural output increasing, but rather we are seeing it decreasing? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, let me address the ginger issue, then I will move over to other commodities. Ginger was planted before the swearing in 2023. When they had the devastating fungal infection, they notified the federal government, and immediately a national technical committee was set up with the relevant government agencies and private sector actors that has the intellectual capacity to actually investigate the problem and provide solutions. So the National Root Crop Research Institute in Umudika State is the research institute with the mandate. The executive director, Professor Egesi, was a member of that committee. The National Agricultural Development Fund, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the Federal Department of Agriculture, Kaduna State government, because ginger is predominantly farmed in southern Kaduna Kacha local government. They all moved in and then provided succor for them last year. That was why last year it was very expensive. If you can be fair, the price of ginger has actually reduced a little bit relative to the price last year, because it wiped out more than 5,000 hectares of farmland. A massive voracious fungal disease that wiped out, and there was nothing to import because Nigerians are used to consumption of ginger. They had to, when demand and supply, when the supply is less than demand.
But Dr. Uzoma, just as you're making that point, when you look at the news reports on this, it seems like this fungal infection happens every year. There's some sort of, when you look at the reportage, this is a persistent problem and it's becoming almost annual if you look at the reportage over the past 5 years. So what is really going on in this sector? Because it's now causing speculation where people are feeling like there's an intentional sabotage in particular agricultural industries to give rise to only God knows what is an alternative.
I can tell you that that problem was only reported last year, 2023 November. I was the person they wrote specifically, the Ginger Association of Nigeria, the chairman of the local government and the Commission of Agriculture, Dili of Kaduna State. That was the first time. I can maybe send you the email to them. That was the first time it was reported. And last year it did not happen. So when the harvest happened, there was an increase, but because a lot of people could not, out of fear of losing every 100% of their investment, so the hectarage under cultivation for ginger reduced drastically by more than 60%. But this year it has come up even further than where it used to be because there was no disease outbreak last year. And this year we also followed up with extensive extension package on good agronomic practices, because what led to the disease infestation of their fields was just laxity of the farmers not adopting the good agronomic practices and using things that are not supposed to be part of the field. So everything was done by the federal government in collaboration with the state government, Kaduna State and minor Plateau State, deliver this a package of practice for enhancing the resilience, the disease and pest resilience of the cocoa, the ginger farmlands. And that is why you are seeing, yesterday on Sunday I bought ginger. Last year I bought ginger. The ginger I bought 5,000 yesterday was something I would have bought on Sunday, was something I would have bought around 20,000. And I was happy because I was part of this intervention. that you can call the Commissioner of Agriculture of Kaduna State, you can call the Chairman of Ginger Farmers Association of Nigeria, you can call the Chairman of Kacha Local Government, where is the percent of the disease infestation, they can give you confirmation to this.
Doctor, I like empiricals.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I like empiricals. I like to see facts before and after. Can you tell me specific production for tonnage of rice, beans, onion, ginger, some of these major food crop items, when this administration got in, and specific tonnage of production today? Can you tell us with empirical facts, quoting those specific tonnage of production?
I can.
And because food prices are going up again, rice, I hear, is already inching up to, maybe for foreign rice or something, is already inching up to, 70 or thereabout thousands. I mean, there was an extensive report on Punch 3 days ago. Can you tell us the empirical facts of those production before this government got in and where we are today? Exactly.
We should not talk about foreign rice because we are trying to increase productivity and increase production capacity.
Tell us the tonnage.
I will give you, before I will give you a historical perspective.
No, just give me empirical.
In 2022, there was massive. Because you cannot
because
get
of
an
time.
accurate.
Please, because of time. Empiricals, when this government got into power, and exact tonnage of production and exact tonnage of production today. Can you just give us those numbers, please? Let's see the numbers.
There has been a rapid, massive increase in rice production, and that was why you saw rice moved from 100,000 to 60,000 boa rice. And the same thing with maize. In fact, farmers are coming and writing to us that they are facing losses because there is glut.
How many tonnage do we produce today of rice? How many tonnage do we produce in the last quarter of rice?
Listen to me. There is the National Agricultural Research and Extension Liaison conducts that study to provide the up-to-date data.
Do you have the data?
But the market imperative is showing. No, they have not done for this year.
No, okay, for last year, what tonnage did we produce?
The market. Let me ask you: has the price of corn and rice reduced relative to the price last year? That's the question we should be asking.
Dr. Uzoka,
the farmers, are they complaining that we have glut or not? What is the reason behind the glut?
Dr. Uzoka,
you read animal science and read crop science.
Dr. Uzoma,
so
hang on a minute.
Dr.
Uzoma, hang on a minute.
Yes.
I want empirical. I just want numbers to be able to tell your story even more. What was production before? What was the tonnage of production before and the tonnage today of rice, of maize that you're talking about, of ginger, of some of these crops? Just give us the numbers. That's what we're asking for.
You see, I wanted you to give me 1 minute. Let me give you historical perspective before I give you the numbers.
Give me numbers, not historical perspective.
No. The empirical perspective is very important because the production in 2022 and production in 2023 cannot be the same because 2023 is administration change year. The administration comes in May 29th, and the planting season in more than half of the federation had already begun. So you cannot have that government, this thing there. It's handed over. This same thing happened in 2007, 2008. It happened in 2015. It also happened. And that was why you had the rapid increase in prices in 2024, because it is the output of 2023 that will determine the price in 2024. Now in 2025, the prices have dropped because the output increased. Therefore, you have to give within 4 years when you have stability of the 2024 production, which is the production completely under President Bola Tinubu, and you compare it to 2025, you get an annualized average at least of 2 years before you begin to talk. Because in 2023, the hectare under cultivation reduced.
Dr. Uzoma, you don't have the data. Yes. That's justice. So let's just take it as that. Because if you have the data, you tell us the tonnage produced, the tonnage reported, and the tonnage articulated. So you don't have the data, Abi. That's justice. So I asked you the question of the data. Give me the data now. What was the tonnage of rice produced in 2024?
Because you
don't have the data. Dr. Abati, go ahead. He doesn't have the data now.
No. We produce more than 10 million metric tons last year.
Okay.
But that's not the highest productivity level in the country.
Okay, Dr. Uzoma, please. There are more.
So I want you to understand this fact that in 2023
can you just calm down? Can you calm down?
Yes.
There are more serious things that you can talk about.
Yeah.
Now, you are SSA in charge of agribusiness and productivity enhancement. Along the value chain, you have a lot of players. During Akim Adesina's time, he used to say, no farmer, no nation. He introduced the wallet and all of that, focusing on this, I forget the technical word now, but people along the chain who are also contributing. Tell us what this government has done to support those people along the value chain. I know they have imported machinery from Belarus. An old classmate of the president, we hear, is the one in charge of that. Have they brought those, equipment now? We know that we have signed an agreement with Brazil twice. When the Brazilian VP came here, and also the president went to Brazil. If you can give us updates on that, and then tell us how people are being supported along the value chain.
I will start by telling you how people are being supported along the value chain. Yes,
tell us.
There is the African Food Security Emergency Support. There is the African Food Security Emergency Support Package by African Development Bank and JICA that had extended fertilizer and seed input support to farmers at 50% subsidy. But it's not just giving subsidy to anyhow farmer. It's giving subsidy to farmers that are original farmer. That was why you had the technology partners, the likes of Crop IT, the likes of Verdant. They mapped these farmers and made sure that their farmers using the geo coordinates of their farms, and federal government gave them the maximum of, if you purchase 4 bags, we give you 4 bags free at the market rate, not inflected rate. And that was why we supported more than 500,000 farmers, including for the first time since 1988, supporting with farmers.
Doctor, to save time, tell us about outcomes.
Yes.
Not about process, not about plans.
Outcomes, Outcomes, we increased the wheat productivity in this country by more than 10-fold. That we're even lobbying the flour mills of Nigeria to buy from them. Go to Jigawa, Jigawa, Kaduna, Sokoto, Zamfara. We onboarded more than 500,000 farmers that benefited from the wheat program. Last year alone, Mr. President released 2,150,000 bags of NPK fertilizer that was given to farmers, distributed across the nation based on the farmer registered data. Not all farmers in all states did not get equal. And that was the outcome. You are seeing that farmers are complaining there is a complete collapse in the price of food items, maize and rice specific. This relative to the, with respect to the tractors that was brought in by Mr. President is at the point of designing a very effective mechanism of allocating these tractors to the real beneficiaries and not the portfolio city-based farmers. And he has also brought in all the farmer group, all the major stakeholders within the agricultural landscape in Nigeria in that committee to design a very effective mechanism for the distribution so that the real intended beneficiaries will be the people that will benefit from it. So, summarily, we have provided the African Food Security Emergency Support Loan. We have provided for wheat, rice, maize farmers. Last year, Mr. President released 2,150,000 bags of NPK fertilizer. This year, he's doing the same thing with JICA. He's also providing these tractors, and he's also 2 months ago, we launched the Irrigate Nigeria project, which is one of the flagships of the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund, for the first time to address the problem of in-season and incessant rainfall pattern within the country. Because more often than not, we have in-season drought. It rains 2 weeks and stop 3 weeks, the crops, they wilt and die. Now the president wants to, they started with 10,000 hectares in Bauchi State, but they want to spread it across to 5 million hectares across the length and breadth of this nation, so that because of the climate change problem we're having in the country, we will not depend on rainfall, will only be supplemental irrigation, but we depend on irrigation reticulation provided under the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund Irrigate Nigeria project. Rainfall will not be supplementary irrigation. Last year in Kwara State, in Kogi State, in Enugu State, they had 1 month in-season drought and all the plants in the field died. Mr. President said this cannot happen again. That is why he's being bullish in the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund for the Irrigate Nigerian project.
Okay, Dr. Uzoma, Rufai here was asking you for data, concrete, empirical data. One, Mr. Yerima from Utako Market has responded. He says that we are trying to ginger things up a little. He said the ginger we used to have by 100 naira, 200 naira is now 1,000 naira. So that's about ginger, because it was you that introduced ginger.
That's why I wanted. See, all these things you're saying, Dr. Uzoma, is good, but that's why I wanted the production data. So maybe next time, if you can get production data, that's just it. So all this great, so that we can track the outcome and the end point of all this production, so that we can all grow together. That's just all I want. That's why I want the production data, what it amounts to in the end. But maybe in another engagement, we need to talk
maybe
more.
There should be a better connection between your office and the market.
Yeah.
Because this is a man in the market who is saying ginger is now 1,000 naira.
We have the market connection. You cannot, the ginger is very clear. In 2023, there was zero production in Nigeria. So last year, we had 5,500 hectares in Kaduna State alone. And last year, only around 2,000 agreed to venture into ginger. And the gingers were planted before Mr. President was sworn into office. It is not a force of its own.
Dr. Uzoma,
so when...
Dr. Uzoma, tell us the tonnage of ginger produced this year.
No, maybe it doesn't
it is
know
still
that offhand.
very... No. The census for that... The census for that has not been done. You cannot ask me to throw up numbers that is not verifiable.
What about
there
last
is
year?
An entity in Nigeria with
What
the
about
response,
last
with
year?
the mandate to do that. The National Agricultural Extension Liaison in Kaduna, they have not done that.
What about last year?
They have not done that.
He just told you. So the data is not available, and they don't have market figures.
No.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kingsley Uzoma, for joining us.
Not the market figure. The market figure is just very clear. The dynamics does not support the prices to go down until all the farmers that farm ginger begin to farm ginger and you have equivalent output. The demand is constant, but the supply has reduced. The market forces comes into play.
Okay. The data in our living...
And this happened before President Tinubu was sworn in. He is the person that came in. For the first time, the Ginger Association has never had any intervention from federal government. Federal government intervened, provided fund, provided extension, provided the planting material. You can call the National Root Crop Research Institute.
Okay, Dr. Uzoma.
Provided the seed that are disease resistant
and
gave to the farmers and trained them on the good agronomic practices so that the problems cannot repeat again.
Okay, Dr. Uzoma, we understand your effort. We appreciate what is being done. But the data that we have is measured in terms of empty stomachs and empty pockets. But we appreciate that government is making an effort.